Hey everyone, Dr. Ryan here with Vallejo Health and Wellness in Eden Prairie. And I know the past couple weeks we have gotten a lot of snow, and so today what we're going to do is we are going to show you some good safety tips, some health tips with shoveling your snow. So for the first tip that I do want to give you guys is, a lot of people say bend with your knees, not your back. But for shoveling, I want you guys to bend over as far as you can with your back. Bend at the hips and have as straight as back as possible. So now, as you are shoveling along, get as much snow on that shovel as possible. Make it as heavy as you can so that when you shovel it, you're able to go nice and quick up over your shoulder. So when you extend back, make sure...
Oh, hey, Ryan.
Oh, hey, Doctor.
Looks like you're making the shovel video. Cool.
Yeah.
I'm just going to stand back. If I have any comments, I'll jump in. But cool, go ahead.
Well, great. So after you bend over, get as much snow on it as possible. When you stand up, make sure you fire the glutes, fire back, and twist over that shoulder as much as you can. Now, last tip that I do have for you guys. I know a lot of people say warm up, but for shoveling, warm up is for sissies. Don't...
Wait, what are you talking about?
Well,
I think you should warm up. You're really saying that you shouldn't bend your knees, that you should twist as much and put as much snow on there as possible?
Oh, yeah. Why not? I mean, it's one way of shoveling.
Okay, well, okay, that's probably the wrong way to shovel.
So I know we talked about, we want more patience in the office, but it's...
All right. Okay, we do want to see more patients. That is true, but not because they're injuring themselves. We'd rather see people that are doing things to prevent. We'd rather see people that just want to stay healthy. And if they do injure themselves, yeah, they can come into the office. But yeah, we don't want to create injuries so that patients come in. So, well, obviously, we're being a little bit facetious here, a little tongue-in-cheek. We don't want to see people get injured. But really what you just did was you spent a few minutes showing people how they shouldn't shovel. And what we want to do for the rest of this video is really share with the viewers what it is they should do when it comes to shoveling, because I shovel. I've had a snowblower in the past. I've decided I just like to shovel. It's a good exercise, and it really is, as long as we're doing it right and not injuring ourselves. And I definitely have seen my neighbors who also shovel. I've seen people doing things that they shouldn't be doing. They're setting themselves up for injury. So let's just jump into what it is that a person can do. So do you mind if I grab the shovel from you?
Yep.
So you had mentioned having straight legs, twisting, using nothing but your back muscles, don't use your legs. And definitely that's the wrong way to do it. So when we look at how we should shovel then, is that we do want to bend our legs. So it depends on the time of year when it comes to shoveling. You definitely see, like, it's February right now, January. More of the snow that we see in that is kind of that light, fluffy snow, and you may be able to get away with poor technique, but when you start getting into those later months, heavier snow, you can't really get away with those techniques. So we really want to practice it all the time, just good techniques. So one of the things is that when you're shoveling, you want to shovel, use the legs being bent, and then what you want to do is you do want to use your legs as much as possible, keeping the back straight, because the power comes from our legs, and we're less likely to injure our backs. And so when we're shoveling, we get to that end of the driveway, and we want to lift it. We bend. We keep that shovel kind of close to our bodies. We don't want it out here. Like if we're out here doing that, that's going to be hard on our back. But if we keep that close, and we use our legs, and we throw that way. And the other thing you had mentioned was, again, that twisting, which that looked painful. I don't know, even just without snow on your shovel, that can be painful. And so you don't want to be twisting. Ideally, what you want to do is when you shovel, that you come and you just come straight out like that. And so you're taking that snow, you're throwing it straight out like that. And you're using the legs to get the momentum, you're keeping the shovel close to your body. That's how we can avoid hurting our backs. So what's the next tip that you would recommend, Ryan?
Next on our list, I know I had facetiously said that warm-upping is for sissies, but a lot of times those early morning shoveling times is important.
Absolutely, and probably most important when it is morning, right? Because when we go to bed, we actually get taller when we go to bed, and the reason why is our discs swell up. And so that's why you probably don't deal with this, you're pretty young still. But just trying to get your socks on in the morning, trying to bend forward, a lot of times you're a lot stiffer, especially again as we get older, and the reason why is because those discs have swollen. And so if we start shoveling and our discs are like that, and we start doing this kind of stuff, we are going to be prone to injury. So you're right. So warming up, what would you do to warm up then?
For warming up in the morning, you do dynamic stretching.
Okay.
So it's the stretches that are including the movements that you're going to be doing.
Yep.
So I would say bending over, stretching down, not holding it, stretch and hold, but
Yeah,
it's
so
more
kind of like
the,
a little gentle bounce in
Mhm.
there, not that dynamic where you throw your body down, like kind of ballistic stretching that they always told us not to do.
And I would go in each of the directions of the way your back would move. So
Okay.
forward, backwards, side to side,
Yep. Okay.
and then twisting as well.
Okay. Now it's cold outside though. I just want to get out there, get her done, and get back in. What would you suggest there? I don't want to be standing out in my driveway warming up. Anything you'd suggest for that?
You can certainly warm up inside before
Okay.
you get outside.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But having good warm clothes on will definitely help you from injury, and
Okay.
you're
Yeah.
able to stand out there longer.
Yeah. So definitely, I could just do it in my living room,
Mhm.
warm up, get those clothes on, go out and shovel,
Mhm.
and then really, that warming up is going to help me to not injure myself. Now, I get to the driveway. I look at the end of the driveway, and if you're like all the rest of us Minnesotans, we look and we see, oh, the snowplow did it again. They plowed you in, so you got these huge chunks of snow at the end. What would you suggest? Do you suggest I just go right down there first, start shoveling that, or would you suggest that I work my way down and then do it at the very end?
I would say work your way down to the end of the driveway.
Okay. Okay,
it
but
would-
I got a big driveway. By the time I get to the end, I'm pretty
You're
much
tired.
spent. I'm done. I don't really want to be shoveling huge chunks of snow. What do you suggest there?
You can certainly, if you have a large driveway, you can go halfway down the driveway,
Okay.
and then jump to the end.
Yep.
But definitely you don't want to start at the end, because that is prone to injury then. If you're on a cold back, if you're just warmed up a little bit, you want to make sure that those muscles are nice and warm, the legs are nice and warm, in order to shovel that heavy snow.
Yeah, yeah, totally agree with that. And the other thing, when you look at that big chunks of snow and such, this shovel here, there's lots of different types of shovels, some just a blade, some you can put a lot of snow in. This one here, you can put a lot of snow in, so you can get like, hey, I'm just gonna get this done as quick as possible, I'll just really load this up. But the problem is, a lot of that snow is packed down, and it's way heavier than the stuff that's on your driveway. So be very careful, maybe take little chunks of it first, just to test it, see how much, how heavy that snow is. And again, keep that technique, keep that, the legs bent, and then keep that shovel pretty close to your body, so that when you are throwing it, it's not going to injure your back. But I like that idea. Maybe start going through the driveway halfway through, then go down, do the end, or if it wasn't too bad, do the end at the last. But again, doing that end at the start can be an issue. Now, if it's at the end of the day, that might not be as big of an issue because you're already somewhat warmed up and such. But yeah, highly recommend tackling that maybe midway through or at the end. So, all right. So as far as we had mentioned already, that as the snowfall, as the year goes on, we can get into different weather patterns and such. And this year has been kind of unique in that we've had some really cold days, we've had some snow, and then we've had days where we're looking at it's melted and then it's frozen. And so the issue you can get is you can be shoveling and there can be ice underneath. And we've had some patients in the last few years that have really had some major problems from slipping on ice, from head traumas to people. We had one patient taking his garbage can to the driveway, into the driveway, hit a patch of ice, slipped, twisted his ankle. 6 months later, he finally recovered from it, twisted it up that bad. So we really want to be careful of what's underneath that snow because we can have ice under there. The other thing that you'll see a lot of times, and you had mentioned before, I think that you guys have a snow blower, but you still have to shovel the sidewalk, maybe the deck. So there's still shoveling going on even when you have a snow blower. And one of the issues that can happen, especially when you have some ice or maybe ruts from people driving on that snow, you could be shoveling and then hit that and it just jars you, okay? And a lot of guys can relate to this. is sometimes it can jar you right into the groin, and so that's never fun to deal with. But it can even jar your shoulder, it can be harmful. So one of the things that I do when I'm shoveling is I'll kind of let that shovel just float a little bit. And with this kind of shovel, which is really nice, got a curve to it, you can kind of let it sit down further and then shovel, and then when it does hit those kind of things, it just kind of rolls right over top of that. Versus if you got a kind of a sharp angle or you're using one of the blades, that could be definitely one of those ones where you hit and just jar yourself. So always be aware of what's under that snow as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything you'd add to that, Ryan? Anything else that you would say that we should tell our viewers to watch out for?
Yeah, so especially when there's a large amount of snow, let's say we're expected to get 6, 7, 8 inches of snow.
Yeah.
I would recommend breaking that up into a couple different times. So instead of just going out when it's all done snowing, I actually would like to go out and maybe shovel a little bit during lunchtime,
Yep.
right after I get home from work.
So it may feel like you're doing more work because you're going out there more times, but ultimately you're really not, because you're not shoveling near as much at one time.
Yeah.
So if you're going to see a 9-inch snowfall, shoveling 9 inches versus shoveling maybe 2-3 times and 2 or 3 inches at a time is a lot easier than shoveling 9 inches all at one time. Yep. And then, as we had mentioned earlier too, is that as the year goes on, as the winter goes on, we start moving into those maybe snowier months, but then more of that wet type of snow. So we get into March, April in Minnesota, May, June, July.
Yeah.
Hopefully not, right? I'm hoping not. But anyway, when we get to that heavier snow, we can be used to, oh yeah, I can shovel the driveway in 15 minutes. I can put a lot of snow on my shovel and have no problem throwing it. But we get into that heavier snow, and what can happen is we can think, oh, I'll get this done in 15 minutes, or think, oh yeah, I'll just load up that shovel completely, and it can be way heavier, and that's when we can really injure our backs. And so it's really important that we be aware of that. And then the other thing that can happen, I haven't seen it too bad this year because we've had some melts, some times where the weather's gotten better where it's actually melted. But last year the snow just kept accumulating to the point where you get like a 4 or 5, even a 6-foot snowbank on each side. Now you've got it to the point where you can't just throw that snow straight out. You have got to lift it up and over. And again, it's that heavier snow. So give yourself time to get your driveway shoveled, but then also be very aware of that. Sometimes it literally might require you picking up that snow, walking over to that snowbank, and throwing it over versus trying to throw 50 pounds of snow from where you're standing to the other side of the driveway.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah, and then nothing wrong with taking breaks. Yeah, it's again, if you're like most guys, we love to get after things and get them done as fast as we can with the least amount of time, least amount of effort. And the problem with that, again, is if we're trying to rush through it, we can injure ourselves. So take breaks, or if you're worried about driving on the driveway and packing it down, maybe you just shovel half your driveway in the morning before you leave, and then you get the rest done when you get home. So it's really important, I think, to take breaks as well. Anything else you'd add to that?
No, not yet. So if you are concerned about your health with injury or even just low back pain or upper back pain, do look into our office. Our number here is 952-949-0676. You can check us out on social media on Facebook, and you can also check us out on our website as well.
Yeah, and again, really the purpose of this video is to help people prevent. We're not trying to create new patients by any means whatsoever. We'd love to see you though in our office. Prevention, or if you are dealing with an injury or something chronic that's going on, we're definitely here to help them. Again, 952-949-0676, and make it a great day. God bless.